Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Big Mama, and I'm back again with a few movie reviews, but I have a question for you. Have y'all ever seen a movie so bad or so disgusting you just wanted to tell the director, yo, fuck you, kiss my ass, burn in hell with the bladed dildo up your ass. I hope you fall into a pit of 100 sharp razors. Then you could bathe in a pool of salt and alcohol, you perverted. I know a few of you may think that I went overboard, but shit, let me explain. Movies are supposed to be fun, they're supposed to inspire us, move us, whatever. But every so often, it's a perverted filmmaker that's just like, nah, let me just go ahead and discuss people instead. Then they create something so uncomfortable or disturbing that you end up questioning yourself. Like, why did I even watch this in the first place? I felt this a couple times. So today what I'm gonna do is dive into the 5 movies that I will never watch again. I saw some of these movies once when I was younger and I really didn't think much of it. Then I watched it again this year, and now that I understand what's going on, I will never watch this again. Let's get into it. And remember, I watch these disgusting films so you don't have to. We're gonna start off with Kids. This isn't a damn horror film, but it might as well be. It's written by Harmony Korine and directed by Larry Clark. So, Kids follows a group of bad teenagers wandering through New York in the mid-90s. They drink, they do drugs, have unprotected sex, commit petty crimes, and they do all of it with this reckless detachment, you know, just teenagers. At the center of it is Telly. Oh, Telly. Telly has HIV, but he continues to seek out these young virgins, and he's infecting all of them. Telly is around 16 or 17 years old, and he prefers to deflower, as he call it, all the 12-year-olds. Like, this dude is up. And you know what's sad about this? In the real world, a lot of people know someone like this, and they will not call the police on them, or they would not report them to the CDC. Anyway, this film was shot with this raw, unfiltered realism that makes you feel like you're watching a documentary, not a film. These kids are disturbingly believable because I don't think they were acting.
That shit is made up, man. I don't know no kid with AIDS. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no one I know died from that shit. And that's just a make-believe story. They got them all scared, man. That shit is true. I wanna die anyway. Go out.
It's this one scene in the damn movie that just really made me sick because I know this goes on in real life. So all the teenagers were at Steven's house party. They were doing drugs, drinking, having sex, destroying the house. So Telly had infected this girl named Jenny with HIV. And after she found out she had it, she was looking all over town for Telly so she could just confront him. She didn't know that after Telly has sex with you, after he takes your virginity, he will never speak to you again. He would never call you back again. So anyway, she finally finds him. She found out he was at Steven's house. When she got there, someone told her, yo, Telly in the room about to have sex with this virgin girl named Darcy. So Jenny went in to hurry up and warn Darcy. She opened the door. Telly yelled, close the door. Jenny already saw that Telly was in it and raw dogging it. So she probably figured like it was too late. She closed the door, went on the couch, cried a little bit, and then she just waited there for Telly to come out the room. But Telly did not come out of that room all night. It was just teenagers sleeping everywhere. It was just like a big party / sleepover. So while Jenny is on the couch sleep, Telly's best friend Casper saw her sleeping. He started pulling off her damn clothes while she's half asleep. And at first she's trying to fight him off and force him off of her, but he's still trying to force his way up inside of her. So instead of... Y'all hear my grandbaby? Every time I record, she just... Come in. Grandma trying to make a video. Hey, good morning. So instead of her trying to fight or yell for him to get off of her, she starts embracing him, therefore spreading HIV to Casper. This is the same that Telly was doing to Darcy in the other room. Hey, 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 hey. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Alright, gang, I'm back. I had to kick her out. It was getting too cute in here. Anyway, despite what I said earlier, This film is brilliant. It's important, but it's devastating and it's cringy to watch. I really think kids is the perfect title for this movie because I am a grown woman and I had to turn my head and cover my damn ears like a little kid when the sex scene came on. But hey, look, at least it's not the worst on this list. That prize goes to our next cinematic war crime. Ah yes, Salo. Or 120 Days of Sodomy. Let that sink in. This film separates the casual film watchers from the people who need long-term therapy. And it's directed by Paolo Pasolini. Whatever. Salo is based on the writings of Marquis de Sade. You know, the guy who name literally gave us the word sadism. Duh. Set in fascist Italy during World War II, Salo follows a group of powerful elites who kidnap men, women, and teenagers. Then they subject them to unspeakable humiliation, torture, and abuse. While this is happening, some of these teenagers' parents are there, and they're happy to give away their sons' and daughters' virginity, just so they can pay a debt. It was this one girl screaming for her dad to save her and save her virginity. But he looked at her like she was crazy, and he said, the more you cry, the colder my heart gets. Like, you need to get deflowered. Then on the floor, in front of everybody, he took a and he made her crawl over to him and eat it. But that's not the worst part of the film. Everybody is in this huge room, while these famous prostitutes tell stories to all these men, women, and teenagers. So they talk about sexual depravity. They talk about humiliation, their sexual experiences when they was out there hooking, and they talk about eating feces and some other stuff. Like, it was just disgusting. And one woman, she was happily talking about how she was at 7 years old by a 57-year-old man, and she enjoyed every single bit of it. While these prostitutes are sitting there telling different stories, a pervert, just a random pervert, could just pick a child or pick a teenager out of the crowd, and they could either do something with that teenager right there in the middle of the room, or they can go into the other room. And if they're in the other room, if the child starts screaming or crying, the women keep telling their stories happily. Then when it was time for dinner, everybody was dressed up real nice and sitting at a huge long table getting ready for this dinner ceremony. The reason why they're having this damn ceremony is because this old behind man is marrying his young male bride. After this, you're probably thinking like, what's next? I'ma tell you. These young virgins walk into the room naked and serve everybody their dinner. What's on the menu is a pot full of the virgin shit. I mean, literally, because the elites thought that virgin poop was a delicacy. And that is still not the worst part of this movie. For 120 days, every single day, several times a day, there's violence, there's torture, there's humiliation, there's sexual assault, and at the end, it's a suicide and murder. And that's the entire film. There's no rescue, no uplifting moments, no escape, no redemption, just misery, dehumanization, carefully staged, and relentlessly brutal. Pasolini, perverted self, wanted to make a political statement to show the corruption of power and the horrors of fascism. And yeah, he succeeded. But that success came at a cost. At one point in time, this movie was faced with and actually banned in almost 100 countries. It was banned in Canada, Singapore, Sri Lanka, India, Chile, Portugal, and the list just goes on. Like, this film makes Saw look like Finding Nemo. But what made me not want to watch this anymore is because I found out that the actors were not adults posing as children. These were literally children, and their ages ranged from 11 to 21. These young people were playing very extreme roles in this film with adults. They should have never, ever been subjected to any of that bull. These minors are literally acting out rape scenes. They're crawling around like dogs, barking like dogs, sitting around listening to sex stories, and doing a bunch more while they're all naked. But I do not understand how the director got away with this bull, but I understand why it was banned in all of those countries. And just when you think we couldn't go any deeper into the pit, oh boy, grab your fucking rosary beads. Because next up, is something that they call the pig movie. Vase de Nuit, or Vase de Noches, aka Wedding Trough. And look, some of y'all might be asking, like, what the hell is a wedding trough? A mistake? This French art house oddity is basically a slow, meandering meditation on love, grief, and sex. But when I saw this film, I wasn't thinking about love or sex. I just stopped eating pork. This farmer is lonely, mentally unstable, and he lives on an isolated Belgian farm. When the film comes on, dude is sitting there playing with a pigeon. He's putting different doll heads on top of the pigeon head. Then he just poops in his jars and leave them all around the farm. And he decapitate hen's head and keep them inside of a jar. All of this for amusement. But that's not the worst part of the film. There's more. The farmer participate in zoophilic acts and bestiality. This idiot is in love with this pig. He is fully convinced that the pig reciprocates his affection. He plays tic-tac-toe with the pig. He plays hide and seek with the pig and everything, chasing the pig around with his pants down by his ankles. But that's not the worst part of the film. They showed him naked, grinding on this pig. It was slow, sensual, it was believable, and it was disgusting and very visual. But that's not the worst part of the film. So time goes on, and the pig gives birth to some piglets. And he believes he's the father because there are no other pigs on this farm, and he's the only one that's been sleeping with her. No DNA test needed. So the farmer tries to forge a connection with his little piglet kids. He starts to spoon feed them and dress them up in clothes, but they looking at him crazy. They just rejected him because they prefer their mother's milk and they prefer to be around their mother. The farmer was enraged and he was heartbroken that his little kids rejected him. So what he did was hung the little piglets up by their neck and strangled them to death. Then there's a scene where the mom discovered that her babies were dead. So she finds them just dangling dead in the air. She starts to nudge them with her snout, but they're not moving, so she knows what's going on. So after this, the little pig was grief-stricken and she ran away in a panic and she falls into this mud-filled ditch and drowned. When the farmer found her corpse, he took her corpse, buried it. Then this idiot tried to bury himself next to her. When that didn't work, he went back to his farmhouse, broke everything up in the house, had his poop jars scattered everywhere. Then he just you know what? I don't want to live with myself anymore. Then he made some tea of his own excrements. And then he drinks it and hangs himself in a barn. Good for you. Vase de Nuit is one of those films that blurs the lines between artistic expression and provocation. And whether you see it as profound or pointless, you just can't unsee it. Vase de Nuit was banned in Australia due to Australia's obscenity laws. Yeah, because he was in love with that pig. Then he killed her offspring and he's eating his own shit. I would have banned it too. But hey, at least it's not as bad as the next film I'm going to discuss. It's called Trauma. Oh, Trauma. Trauma is a Chilean film that proves you don't need a Hollywood budget to make you feel like you just been dragged through hell. This one kicks off with the act of brutality so shocking it just leaves you in silence. And then it just keep going. There's relentless violence, relentless misery, relentless despair. It's like the director looked at Martyrs and said, yeah, I bet I can make something worse than that. And he did. Trauma has one of the most brutal openings I have ever seen. So this young man named Juan was forced on his mother. You know what I'm talking about. The man who forced him upon his mother was his father. Juan was held at gunpoint by his father's soldiers. I don't know what that lady did to piss the daddy off, but he was not playing. The soldiers gave Juan some type of drug so he can keep humping his mother and stay erect. So he's pumping on her and he's crying and she's crying, and then the dad said, oh, that's not enough. Then he shoots the mom in the head. But that's not the worst part of the story. Juan is pumping on his mother while her head is blown off, and he can't stop because of this drug that they gave him. Yep, necrophilia. And that's just the beginning of the movie. Juan's father made him do some sick stuff when he was growing up, including sexually assaulting his own newborn son named Mario. This created a damn monster. And let me tell you, this man becomes a full-on walking nightmare. The kind of guy even the police take one look at and go, yeah, nope, we're good. And his mute son Mario? Oh, he's not just along for the ride. He is the co-pilot on this train to hell. These two do everything together. Live, fight, kill, torture, assault women, kidnap kids. Basically, if you can think of something horrific, they got it on their checklist. Here's where it gets quote unquote creative. Juan and Mario aren't just father and son. Because what's a good horror film without a little incest? Yes, they are also lovers. How cliche. And it gets worse. The movie dropped hints that Mario isn't just Juan's lover. He is also his nephew. Because Mario's nasty behind was humping on his sister and they made a baby. Then he killed his sister later on. So now he's a single father with a mute son / nephew. Where they do that at? In the South. Anyway, I'm about 20 minutes into the film and I'm like, what the f*** is wrong with these people? These two psychos stalk 4 women on a vacation and then they assault them. They kill one and send the rest of them running to the police. But instead of safety, this sparks a bloody domino effect that ends up with everybody winding up at Juan's little cave of horrors. Then a good versus evil war breaks out and almost everybody dies except for Juan's newborn, one woman who was chained up in the cave, and a little girl that they kidnapped named Yoya. Then the movie ends. So, let me tell you the history behind this. Trauma carries heavy political undertones from Chile's dark history of dictatorship, political oppression, and state-sponsored violence. It draws directly from the Pinochet era, reflecting on the atrocities committed under his regime and the generational trauma that still lingers long after. Yeah, and look, I get it. Okay, I get it. That's the point. But it doesn't change the fact that this movie leaves you sitting there questioning, what the f*** is wrong with these people? I can stomach a lot of stuff, but what turned me off about this movie was the newborn scene. And he's not the first person to have that messed up scene with the newborn. I think more directors were leaning towards that idea because it's very disturbing. But no, just no. I'm not going to normalize it. So I refuse to give this film any more streaming views. And finally, just in case you thought we end up on a high note, nope. I have one more. This is it. This is the big one. The holy grail of all movies you only watch once. The most infamous title on this whole list. Drum roll, please. A Serbian film. This is one of the most famous films in the entire world when it comes to disturbing movies. And look, I'm no stranger to extreme cinema. I seen Martyrs, Salo, Irreversible. Hell, I've been shot at in an alleyway before. And look, just don't ask me why I was there. The director swears it's all political allegory. A metaphor for how the Serbian people have been violated by their own government. Okay, fine, I get it. But next time, maybe just deliver your political metaphors without scenes that make me want to burn my TV. This European film follows Milos, a retired adult film star. He's married to Maria, with a young son named Petar, or Peter, or whatever. I'm gonna call him Lil Pete. And his shady brother Marco, a crooked cop, obsessed with Maria and jealous of his brother's life. So one day, Milo's friend Layla called. She's an ex-film star. And she was like, look, hey Milos, I know you're strapped for money. I know this director, his name is Volkmir. He pays me real good to do films with animals. That's a red flag. But he wants to make a deal with you. Milos, desperate for money, meets up with Volkmir and he signed a contract. Now look, the contract states that Milos, or Milios, I don't know his name, won't know what he's filming until the cameras are rolling. There's that invisible red flag again. But the money is good, so he agrees. And then that's when the nightmare begins. At first, it starts off with the snuff film that he's not too comfortable with, then he just get into the groove. Then they tried to trick him into putting a 12-year-old girl named Jekka into his video. And you know what I'm talking about. They had this one scene where he was sitting in the living room with Jekka and her grandmother. So Jekka's grandmother started talking to him, trying to give away Jekka's virginity to him, the same way her father took hers. And the whole time she's talking, The little girl is trying to look him in the eye. She's rubbing on his knee, and she got on red lipstick. Yeah, rubbing on his knee, trying to guide her hand closer to his meat. So Milos disagrees. He says, I'm done with this. No. Then he jumps out of the window to escape. Good for you, Milos. But it's too damn late now. Because Valkmir has a lot of crooked police / bodyguards who are part of the film production. And they're going to make sure he finishes that film. These people follow him around, trick him, and then pump him full of drugs so he can participate in some of the most repulsive acts ever put on film. The scenes escalate fast, straight into the deepest pits of cinematic hell. Abuse, torture, humiliation involving women, children, and yes, even newborns. It does not stop there. Here comes the final twist. The twist that makes you want to fight your TV for even showing you this bullshit in the first place. Towards the end, Milo was drugged, tricked, and forced into this last scene. There were 2 people lying in the bed under a cover, under separate covers, and clearly drugged. And Milos, not knowing who they were, started on the larger body. And he started pumping on the larger body. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Then he moved on to the smaller one that was beneath the sheets. So while he's into it, all drugged up, he looks up and he saw his brother, the crooked cop who's been obsessed with Maria for years. His brother was on top of the first body that Milos just got off of. Marco knew exactly who was under those covers. And as he looked Milos in the eyes with a sick grin, Milos realized the horrifying truth. He had been forced onto his own son while his brother violated his wife. When he realized what was going on, Milos snapped. He killed Valkmir, he killed his brother, and he killed the entire film crew. His family was still alive, but he managed to take them home. And then he decided the only escape for his family was a damn murder-suicide. So they all laid in the bed, and he put a bullet through all of them, and now it's 3 corpses in the bed. And just when you think it's over, nope. Another director shows up, and they're ready to use their corpse for their next masterpiece. So the new camera crew was standing over the 3 bodies, and he told the security guard, look, start with the little one. And then the guard starts to unzip his pants, and the scene ends. This film was banned in a lot of countries, and I understand why. I'm going to take a deep breath for this because I need to say it all in one sentence. And it's going to sound like the end of those medicine commercials when they try to warn you of all the damn side effects that can potentially cause more harm to you than what you already got going on right now. A Serbian film contains necrophilia, pedophilia, incest, rape, assault in multiple forms, corrupt police officers, snuff film, sodomy, misogyny, bestiality, manipulation, gaslighting, exploitation, humiliation, grooming, torture, mental abuse, human trafficking, forced drugging, improper use of an aphrodisiac, child exploitation, sadistic violence, suicide, family annihilation, homicide, murder, mutilation, animal abuse, psychological breakdowns, state corruption, systemic abuse, child sexualization, forced incest, stalking, dehumanization of victims, coercion into criminal acts, exploitation under the guise of art, sadistic power dynamics, deranged political allegory through abuse, emotional and physical degradation of every character involved, and yes, the sickest ever. And last but not least, newborn pornography. So everyone, there you have it. The 5 movies I will never watch again. Not because they're bad. In fact, most of them are brilliant. But because there's a difference between art that makes you think and art that makes you stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m, wondering, what the hell did I just watch? Am I a loser? I don't ever want to feel like that again. So before I put this on YouTube, I let one of my homegirls listen to it. And she was like, oh, what's so bad about these movies that you don't want to watch them again? They're only movies. It's not happening in real life. You doing too much. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a few jokes. How many babies does it take to paint a house? Okay, nobody knows? So, it depends on how hard you throw them. What do 9 out of 10 people enjoy? Oh, I'll answer it for you. Gang rape. What do some men get when they kick a baby down the stairs? An erection. Do you see where I'm going with this? No? Okay, so after I told those jokes, it's going to be people that doesn't want to deal with me anymore. Because first of all, that shit happens in real life. And second of all, when you visualize what I just said, I'm pretty sure you put yourself or your baby in one of those scenarios and it made you sick. So I'm gonna let you think about that. Anyway, those are the 5 movies that I will never watch again. And before I leave, I want you all to check out my bro, BG Dino. He does movie reviews, and if you catch him at the movie theater, he will pay for your ticket. Everybody, I'm out. Stay tuned in for my next movie review.